This week we will be drawing a macaw, which is a type of bird. And the type of bird it is a type of parrot. And this parrot is long-tailed, and all of them are mostly very colorful. And they love to be companions, meaning they are mainly used as pets. And yes, macaws can talk. They mimic human speech. And some of them can also learn full sentences. But usually they mimic human speech. Now, with our background, we're going to do a lot of plant life. And we're going to tie that in with Henri Rousseau, who was a famous painter. He was born in 1844 and lived to 1910. He has 123 artworks. And what makes him so different is Henri Rousseau, he never ever went to the jungle, which is where parrots and macaws usually come from. He never went to a jungle. He only had houseplants. And his houseplants were very small in comparison to jungle life. The plants in the jungle are very, very large. So he went to a botanical garden to study plant life. And just from seeing his houseplants and the botanical garden, he knew that jungle life plants were very, very large in scale compared to houseplants and just a small botanical garden. And also, one more interesting fact about him, he was self-taught, which means he taught himself how to create art altogether. No one helped him whatsoever. So we're going to get started with and that's just two different variations of the parrot that we have done in the past. But I kind of added a little bit more plant life this time. So we're just going to get started, and first we're going to start with the parrot's eye. And you're going to do a circle with another circle inside of it for his pupil and color that pupil in. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do that beak shape just beside the circle. With the circle almost in the middle, but more down towards the bottom. Kind of a curved line, so it curves in towards his face, and bring that beak out and down. Curve that line down and stop it. Then you're going to bring it in, almost like a curved V shape. Bring it back into the line we started for the beak, right beside the eye. Then you're going to take and go around that eyeball with kind of a funky U, C shape, but make it extra long. And let it bring down just a little bit more. Drop it down here just a little bit more. Then you're just going to take some more lines and go around that same shape. Follow that same shape again. And then follow it again. And this is because the macaws are very colorful. So with that, you can add more color to the macaw. And around their eyes does tend to have a lot of color. And to finish off the beak, we're going to make this part solid. And then the rest of it, so you need a curved line that goes all the way to the bottom. And then bring that line over and down to that point to give you the indication that that beak does open. And then they have colorful beaks, so you're just going to add some curved lines in there to give more color across his beak. And then the tip of their beak is generally black. So just add a curved line at that tip, the top part that opens. And you can color that in black. And next, you're going to draw a line that start just a little ways under the beak and bring it out, curve it around and back down, sort of kind of give him a belly shape. And then another line that curves the opposite way out to make it look more like he has a belly. Now the top of his head is where we're going to go next, and you're just going to curve that around, almost following these same line shapes. But we're going to, instead of curving it on around, we're going to curve it and bring it down off the paper. And macaws have really, really furry, well, not furry, they have feathers. Really, really crazy kind of feathers. Some of them do. So we're just going to give him some wild hair on top with some zigzag lines. Now, we have our bird drone, our macaw, which we said is a type of parrot. And now that we have that, we are going to add our plant life. And we're just basically going to draw some heart shapes. Start with one little heart right up under the feathers at the top of his head. And behind his head, we're just going to add this one plant. And there is a plant that looks like this. It kind of has this, like it's a bunch of hearts stacked on top of each other. And as you go down with them, or you can start at the bottom and go up, but as you go down with them, they get larger towards the bottom. Or if you start at the bottom, they get smaller towards the top. Now, we're going to add our vines, which is some more jungle plant life. And if you've ever watched the cartoon George of the Jungle, you would know that he swings on a lot of vines. So the jungle's full of vines. And you're just going to add, once you have your basic vine shape, which is just some wavy lines with another line comes to a point and lines up right beside them, leaving a little bit of space in the middle. You're just going to add some, you can call them leaves if you want to, or you can consider them flower petals. And we're just going to add another curved shaped vine. Bring it in from the side. And that same shape, only smaller, to make that vine shape. And add those little, and you can add as many of these leaves or petals, whichever way you want to explain them. Now, this is kind of like one of those big, huge jungle plant life, and it's almost like big zigzags. And just out and in to a point. Out to a point and in with your big zigzag plant life. And if you need to, you can turn your paper whichever way you need to help you. And we're just going to add another vine. And add as many of these leaves or petals or flowers, flower buds, whatever you want to call them, that you want to. Now this, is going to be a kind of a stem shape. And we're going to call it a stem. You're going to bring it just a kind of a curved line out onto the paper to a point, and then bring it back in. It's kind of like doing a vine, only it doesn't have that wavy, curvy effect. And here's where we're just going to do some repetition and repeat the same shape over and over again. So you're just going to do some U shapes coming off of that vine. Just up, down, depending on which way you got your paper. It'd be U shapes or upside down U shapes. And here's another stem from Large Jungle Plant Life. And you're just going to add some pointy lines with the up. Come to a point and bring it back in. Come to a point and bring it back in. And that's going to be your plant life for make sure you have your points of your pointy leaves on both sides. Now, you have your parrot and your plant life. That relates to our artist. And keeping up with our 9-week segment of animals and insects, we're just going to randomly choose some colors and color away on our parrot, our macaw. I'm going to go ahead and add yellow wherever else I want yellow. And remember to lay those markers if you were using marker, and because it does not matter what you have available to you to use. You can use crayon, color, and pencil, marker, whatever, if you have those things. Remember, if you use marker, and it's the broad tip ones, to make them last longer for you, lay them on their side, and don't use that point. Doesn't do very well when you do it that way. I'm just going to choose some different colors. Oh, I forgot one part of my blue. My blue's about to dry out. I'm going to add some orange to that beak. And some orange to his face. We're just going to leave all this white because some of them do have white, extra white on the faces. And I did forget to draw this and color this in black because it's supposed to be black. And then I think just for fun, I'm going to give him some teal hair up here. And some of these spots you have to use your tip if you use them for broad markers. And then you can just start coloring your plant life. And generally this plant is a reddish, pinkish, sometimes even burgundy-ish color. Balance that out a little bit. Now, for Now for our vines. We're going to color in our vines. And yes, this other one does have a little bonus butterfly in there. So if you want to, and you want to add a butterfly, that's entirely up to you. You may do that. The more creative, the better. We're going to finish our vines up right quick. And your little leaves or flower buds or petals or whatever you want to call them that are coming off of these vines, you can color those whatever colors you want to. That's entirely up to you. Now I'm going to choose another color to go beside them with. Now, we are going to do our stem with our jungle flower or jungle plant repetition. And this is just going to be some form of green. If it's the same green as over there, it does not matter. I just wanted to change it up a little bit. And jungle plant life does come in all kinds of colors. But lots of greens, different shades of greens and browns. And then you do have your jungle flowers that are very colorful. Now I'm going to kind of go out of the box a little bit with this one. Just to add a little extra color. And do this one kind of a peach color. some of those peach-colored leaves. And there we have it. There's our macaw. And which is our animal, or our animal and insect segment. And our plant life that relates back to Henri Rousseau.